Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's Jimmy Talent. Brand new essay in the National Review called A Successful First Speech. But before we get to that, Jim Talent, I want to ask you about the Jeff Sessions deal. I don't know whether you heard my explanation of what was going on here or what appears to have been going on here regarding Senator Sessions, who is a member of the Armed Services Committee, who in all likelihood, it would not be unusual for him to have a conversation with the Russians. And in fact, indeed, according to records, he had 25 different conversations with 10 representatives from 10 different countries. So it's not unusual.
It's quite common. It's quite common. And remember, these ambassadors and foreign officials, I mean, what they basically do is they collect a bunch of chit-chat, is what the State Department calls it, and then they put together reports to send back to their, I mean, it's a standard diplomatic thing, and they meet with senators. And it's just, he met with an ambassador, and so what? I mean, I just don't get it. I really don't. I mean, it's like, and you meet with people from, they call up, and whether you can meet with them depends a lot on how much time you have and what you want to do. I never liked meeting that much with ambassadors. I mean, I don't want to sound, I just didn't, the whole diplomat thing, I just never got into. But it was kind of strange when you would meet with them because they'd come in, you'd say hello, you'd talk about the Cardinals or something, and then, they'd ask you questions, and you'd ask them questions, and then they'd leave. And it was like, what was that all about?
You probably barely understand him half the time, too.
Right, exactly. Now, I'm not surprised if a bunch of ambassadors, because they're trying to, when I was, and I wasn't in office anymore, but I was very close to Romney, as you know, and I would get phone calls from people. And if I was in Washington and I had time, I'd meet and talk with them. They're trying to find out what the candidate thinks about this or that. And, of course, you always protect the equities of your candidate, but you talk with them. So what?
Yeah, and the thing is, again, Sessions, this is all, once again, their circumstantial evidence fantasies. And so, and these guys have never really, they haven't really taken a logic class, but what they're doing is they're melding two different quotients together to equal an answer. So you've got Jeff Sessions was a Trump supporter. Jeff Sessions talked in favor of Trump on TV. Jeff Sessions met with a Russian ambassador. Jeff Sessions and the Trump campaign talked to the Russian ambassador. That didn't happen.
Yeah, there's no lot to what they're trying to get to. They can't get to. But part of what I don't like, because it's a cheap shot, is to take a practice that's perfectly normal, and which the press does, and then all of a sudden, when they want to weaponize it against somebody they don't like, they act like it's terrible. And the public, of course, which is not aware of normal practices, goes what is that? And then you have to go explain yourself. When the press knows perfectly well, this is what senators do. And Sessions was continuing to do his job in the Senate all of last year. And look, he didn't know Trump was going to win. I mean, probably thought he wasn't going to win. I mean, most of us did, right? So he's going on doing his job. And I don't see anything more to it than that. I really don't.
So you watched the speech on Tuesday, and you have written an essay, a response to that, in the National Review, A Successful First Speech, and one of the lines is, it was a good speech, and at times, a great one.
Yeah, I mean, I really was, I was quite impressed, and I explained there in the piece, he was completely in command, and one of the things, when you go into that chamber, it's an intimidating type thing, particularly when you're Donald Trump. I mean, because he's been, for the last month, saying how he's going to drain the swamp, right? And then he goes right in the middle of a chamber, which is full of the people he's been attacking, and he takes command and does a very a forceful, but I thought high-minded type speech. Obviously, the moments, with real people that they interwove in the speech, I thought was done extremely well, and I thought the ending was very powerful. That's what I said in the piece. The ending was one of the best endings I've heard in a presidential speech before Congress. So I was very pleased, and I think he's learning, or he's turning now and being Donald Trump and hitting on Donald Trump's themes, but he's fleshing it out now, and he's putting it in a little different tone. And I thought I was very impressed.
It's interesting the kind of mindset one must have to be able to deliver a speech, as you point out, that is basically I use this term loosely, enemy territory, but he did take them on during the campaign, and now is in front of them, and didn't seem rattled, nervous, and didn't seem overconfident either. And I think it has something to do with this idea, and I don't know what's inside of his head, but he seems to have, as he did with the inaugural address, a true, honest belief that he is representing the people, and that this government that he is now, that where he is the chief executive, belongs to the people. Much like he felt the inaugural address belonged to the people, and that day belonged to them. And Tuesday night, it seemed almost like he was delivering a message from us, which I thought was really fascinating. The dynamic there.
He goes in with that view, and he's obviously very comfortable in his skin and in that view. What I thought was really significant is that, all presidents, particularly at the beginning, they step on a few landmines, and then they grow into the job.
Right.
And I think you're seeing now another layer of Trump, and which I thought is really good. I mean, he's a very formidable person. I decided, and I was with several other people in the primary.
Yeah.
And I decided in the spring that I was very consciously going to discipline myself not to underestimate Donald Trump.
Right.
I think he's one of these guys who benefits from the fact that people underestimate him. And I think if you're going to approach Trump, whether you're a supporter or whether you're an opponent, you would do very well not to underestimate him, because he's very good at exploiting that. And I think he showed the other day that he is capable of going in there and taking his themes and his approach and putting it in a way that is very powerful and use the bully pulpit very well. And if I were his opponents, I would take a lesson from that and be careful in the future.
All right. Well, Jim Talent, thank you so much for that. And we're going to post your essay up on the electric stove. It's at the National Review right now, and appreciate the insight on that. And, of course, on the fake news story regarding Senator Jeff Sessions.
And that's what it is, too.
Yeah.
It's fake news. It's a shame because, I mean, if you want to go after Sessions, wait till he does something and then attack him on the merits.
I know.
Come on.
I know. Well, at least he's not kneeling on a couch in the Oval Office. So
by the way, Jeff Sessions was not my best friend in the Senate. I like Jeff, and I think he likes me.
Yeah.
But he is a man of integrity, and he had that reputation.
All right.
That's why I think the job he's got is a good one for him.
At Jim Talent, love you, buddy. Thanks so much.
Looking for a dentist that provides